Hello everybody and welcome to another edition of A Girl and Her Glock. Today I'm coming to you from my living room. I thought it would be a little change of pace from my regular bedroom wall that you usually see. You can see I have, you can see part of my Abbey Road poster, my Imagine peace sign poster, and if you're familiar with 70s music, that is a signed Tony Orlando and Dawn album right above my head. They're my favorite music group. But anyway, what I wanted to get into today in today's video is the recent open letter that Levi Strauss and Company's CEO just put on LinkedIn, and it regards his company's policy on the carry of guns in their stores. And I want to read the open letter to you and then go over a couple of points that I really do disagree with, and I'll tell you why I think he is wrong on this. But I'm reading this from Fortune.com. They published the letter. It says, an open letter to customers, our weapons policy, November 30th, 2016. Dear customers, the debate in the U.S. over gun safety and gun rights is as complex as it is diversive. As a former Army officer, father, and business leader, I've heard the arguments from all sides. And as a CEO of a 163-year-old company whose products and presence rest at an intersection of culture and community in more than 110 countries around the world, I feel a tremendous responsibility to share our position on the issue now, at a time when clarity is paramount. Providing a safe environment to work and shop is a top priority for us at Levi Strauss. The imperative is quickly challenged, however, when a weapon is carried into one of our stores. Recently, we had an incident in one of our stores where a gun inadvertently went off, injuring the customer who was carrying it. So, while we understand the heartfelt and strongly held opinions on both sides of the gun debate, it is with safety and security of our employees and customers in mind that we respectfully ask people not to bring firearms into our stores, offices, or facilities, even in states where it is permitted by law. Of course, authorized members of law enforcement are an exception. With stores in Paris, Nice, and Orlando, and the company's headquarters in Brussels, I've thought more about safety in the past year than the previous 3 decades of my career because of how, quote, close to home so many incidents with guns have come to impacting people working for this company. We operate in hundreds of stores across every state in the U.S., and laws are different in each one. We know that the presence of firearms in our stores creates an unsettling environment for many of our employees and customers. We also know that trying to enforce a ban could potentially undermine the purpose of the ban itself, safety. With that in mind, we've made this decision as a business, as a request, not a mandate, and we sincerely hope that responsible gun owners will respect our position. It boils down to this: you shouldn't have to be concerned about your safety while shopping for clothes or trying on a pair of jeans. Simply put, firearms don't belong in either of those settings. In the end, I believe we have an obligation to our employees and customers to ensure a safe environment, and keeping firearms out of our stores and offices will get us one step closer to achieving that reality. Sincerely, Chip Berg, President and CEO, Levi Strauss & Company. And as you can tell, I definitely disagree with his request here. And I'm going to bring up some of the, I'm going to go over some of the things that stood out to me in this letter. And the first one is that, his mention of the negligent discharge. Yes, negligent discharges happen when people are not paying attention. And yes, there are some people who definitely need better training before they carry a gun. However, the vast majority of gun owners and concealed carriers and open carriers are very well disciplined, very well trained, and are not, and will take every precaution to keep that from happening. Like I said, things do happen, but the majority of us do carry responsibly, and I don't think it's fair for other people, for people to judge us based off the actions of a few. And one of the other things he mentions is having stores in Paris, Nice, and Orlando, and headquarters in Brussels, and that he's thought about safety because of how close to home so many incidents with guns have come. What he fails to mention, and I think this may be deliberate, is that Paris, Brussels, and Nice are all countries, are all places, I should say, which severely restrict the gun rights of their citizens. It's nearly impossible to get a handgun, and very hard to get even a bolt-action rifle or a basic shotgun. And so, and obviously having those gun controls in place didn't do anything to stop the terrorists. And as far as Orlando goes, while the state of Florida is very gun friendly in general, and I'm thankful for that, they do prohibit the carry of any weapons into bars. So therefore, the Pulse nightclub was a known gun-free zone. And again, it didn't stop the terrorist. In fact, the terrorist actually sought out the target because he knew that it was unlikely that anybody would be able to fight back, at least until the police got there. And that's what I don't think that this CEO is quite realizing, is the fact that when you have an anti-gun policy in place, you actually make yourself more of a target because the bad guys realize that they're not going to get much resistance out of from people in your place of business. And also it mentions that he requests that they leave them at home even in states where it's permitted by law. In Florida, we don't have to pay attention to the no guns allowed sign unless it's a business that is specifically listed as prohibited in the state law, such as bars, sporting events, and schools. So you can put up 1,000,000 of those signs, it doesn't matter. The only thing that will happen is that they could ask you to leave if they see your gun, and if you don't leave, then that's armed trespassing, which I wouldn't recommend doing. But it's not illegal to actually carry into businesses that have no gun sign, so you can just ignore that in this state. But yeah, that's what people need to realize, is that when you go and you make a anti-gun policy, you actually increase your chances of having a major event, because people know that they can go in there and, like I said, not be opposed until the cops get there, which is really sad. And he also says, it boils down to this: you shouldn't have to be concerned about your safety while shopping for clothes or trying on a pair of jeans. Simply put, firearms don't belong in either of those settings. The reason that myself and most people who own guns and carry them is for the safety of ourselves and others. We are concerned with good cause of running into things such as muggings and rapes and carjackings, things like that. So we keep our guns on us. And unfortunately, things like that can happen in malls, and they happen in shopping centers, and you have to be prepared all the time. You're not really safe when you're at a mall. You always have to be on guard and willing to protect yourself and innocent people around you. And like I said, us legal gun owners that have all our paperwork and done everything legally, we're not usually the threat. You don't have to be afraid of us. We're not going to pull our guns unless there is an actual life-threatening emergency, and then you should be grateful that we're there. I just don't think that I will be supporting Levi Jeans anymore as a company. If I do buy any more of their jeans, it will be at something like a thrift store. That way that they don't get any money, because I try not to support businesses that do not support the Second Amendment. And so whenever I can avoid it, I will. So I just think that personally I will be avoiding buying Levi jeans unless they change this policy sometime soon. Okay, thank you for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye.